Edin Terzic out at Borussia Dortmund. This is what he had to say. Dear Borussians, even though it pains me greatly right now, I want to inform you that as of today, I will be leaving Borussia Dortmund. It was a tremendous honour to lead this great club to a Pokal victory and recently to a Champions League final. After our final in Wembley, I asked the management for a conversation because after 10 years at BVB, including 5 years in the coaching team and 2.5 years as head coach, I feel that the upcoming restart should be led by a new person. Let's welcome in, shall we? Archie Rhind-Tutt, who looks like he's about to get his passport photo taken. Archie, how much of a surprise is this?
Can't smile for a passport photo, can I?
No, you can't.
This is a big shock to many, and yet there have been rumblings for a while that something like this could happen. I think it's just the timing after the Champions League final. It seems to have saved him. And yet what this comes back to with Edin Terzic is the style of play that Borussia Dortmund have played in the Bundesliga this season, which came under a lot of criticism internally as well, as we know, because lots was leaked from within the dressing room about players being unhappy with it, and then it wasn't so much leaked as then very much quoted by Mats Hummels in the week before the Champions League final about how he was purporting to have helped bring about this change by going to Terzic and was very much voicing his disapproval of it. You had Nuri Sahin and Sven Bender come in as new assistant coaches in December as well. You knew as well that Sebastian Kehl, the sporting director, had his disagreements with Terzic, and all of this added up eventually, I think, to Terzic, who was not exactly feeling much support from the hierarchy in the last week, thinking, you know what, I'm going to walk before I'm pushed.
Nuri Sahin to take over as the new coach. Is that right, Archie?
It very much looks that way. Sahin has some experience of coaching Antalyaspor in Turkey, but he's been at the club now back at Borussia Dortmund for 6 months. They value somebody who has experience of knowing the way that Dortmund works. That was part of the attraction of getting Edin Terzic. But then again, Marco Rose, his predecessor, might say, well, be careful, Nuri, whoever is going to be appointed within the club, because they might end up taking over from you 6 months later. This whole thing casts a pall over Borussia Dortmund and the way that they are working as a club culture, because if you are allowing someone like Mats Hummels, who is also going to leave the club, which it has to happen after what he did, you wonder about the culture that is being allowed to do this, and that goes on CEO Aki Vatska, who has let this kind of thing grow. And I think that that's the biggest thing that Dortmund need to sort out this summer, is making sure that with their new chief, Lars Ricken, who scored the winning goal for Dortmund in the 1997, or one of the goals for Dortmund in the 1997 Champions League final, and has been working as their youth coordinator. One of the things he has to sort out is making sure that things are working smoother and that everybody is, I think, working on the same beat at Dortmund, because that hasn't been happening for too long now. And the frustration with Terzic, I think, was that Bayern Munich were there to be beaten this season, and they had a much more expensive squad than Bayer Leverkusen, and yet, in all honesty, they didn't come anywhere near beating them.
What are you going to be like if you've got to interview Nuri Sahin? Because you love Edin Terzic. Archie, are you going to be a little bit surly, a little bit moody with him?
You know me, Dan, always surly.
Always surly. Speaking of surly, Burley. Seems like Edin Terzic made his decision and seemed to be the right time to leave for him.
Yeah, if he's not getting the support, and certainly Mats Hummels was piling onto him before the Champions League final, and, you know, fifth in the Bundesliga, not good enough for them. The Champions League was magnificent, just magnificent. I mean, they overachieved, but clearly he just feels that he hasn't got the backing, and that he needs to go and do something else. So, yeah.
Very surprised that if what we've read of Mats Hummels going upstairs questioning Terzic's
Well, he came out before the Champions League final, like blabbing on about
No,
it.
but I mean, I've never, ever... I mean, I hear it these days, but never once as a player. I don't know what you were like. Have you ever had anyone go to the seniors above a manager, you'd never dream of it.
Yeah.
So the culture in football now, and I'm surprised it's at Dortmund, I'm surprised it's Mats Hummels, for someone who's so good and someone who looks like a real leader, has then gone above Edin Terzic's head to question the tactics.
It just seems strange, the whole timing of the... You know, at the end of the season, if Mats Hummels, I don't know how much difference it would have made, but, you know, just the timing of it, just before such a historic run for them after, you know, everybody wrote them off from the group stages to the knockout, and here they are...
Especially as you're leaving, like, what are you achieving?
Here they are going into this big game in London against, you know, the best team in Europe, in Real Madrid. They're the underdogs, but they've got a fighting chance, and he's coming out with a sledgehammer before it. It just didn't make sense.
So, Archie, we know Edin Terzic. We know he's a massive Dortmund fan, bleeds yellow. What next for him? How high is his stock?
I think that he will get a job in the Premier League at some point soon, because when you are reaching a Champions League final with a dysfunctional squad as well, even if it was expensively assembled and he had decisions within that as well, albeit not all the power that he wanted. Such was the struggle with Sebastian Kehl, the sporting director. I think that he does deserve more credit than he got and more credit than he received internally at Dortmund as well. He is somebody who has an excellent eye for recognizing things tactically. I think where he stumbled a bit was implementing it with this set of players and getting them on board. But I think given his experience now, he will get other chances in his career, and I'm intrigued to see how he gets on, because I think that he has big heart. He's shown he has a big heart in the way that he operates, and that kind of thing I think would wear well in English football. So I'm intrigued what kind of opportunity that he'll get, but I'm sure, look, you can't reach a Champions League final as a coach in terms of the game plans, which also, the great irony of this, Mats Hummels shone under this defensive way of playing. If he'd been playing more attacking football, he would not have shone. He is not a spring chicken when it comes to running anymore. So yeah, I think that Edin Terzic will get opportunities, and I think that given how good his English is as well, I think those opportunities could come in England.
Edin Terzic, he bleeds yellow.
Yeah, he does.
What
Black
kind
and
of
yellow,
line
you
is
say
that?
that.
I think that. What do you mean?
That's pathetic.
I think that's a very lovely line.
He bleeds yellow.
Yeah.
Get out of
As much
here.
as you bleed black. Just
Bleeds
angry,
yellow.
like black and hard.
Say that way.
Oh.
It just annoyed me, that did.
Oh, good. I'm glad.